I get that.
Madison's gonna do it. So there we go. Who just did it?
Hi. Oh, you can't see me.
Hi, Madison.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Repping the state.
Who is recording?
I have it recording as like a screen record. I don't know exactly how to do it on Zoom.
It did
but
announce it, so I think we're good.
I have one as a backup if it's not working. So
Cool. So where should we start?
First of all, I think that it would have been really helpful if we had the group instructions for this assignment before we had our meeting, but obviously she sent those late. So it would have been helpful for us, like as a big group, to go through those before we started this assignment. Not on anyone's fault, but it would have been nice to have those and go through them before.
Agreed.
I saw you guys noted that in your paper.
Yes.
Do you guys have any questions on the feedback? Anything specific?
If you guys want to go through and touch on the points and highlight the big things, then maybe we'll go over our questions afterward, because I don't have anything specific coming to mind right now.
Okay.
I'm also gonna, unless someone wants to share their screen, I'm gonna pull it up on my computer, but unless Madison, if you want to share your screen and pull up the feedback. If you can, it's fine. I can pull it up on my computer, at least for myself. And then side note, does anybody know how long this video is supposed to be?
It's supposed to be 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay,
That's correct.
just checking.
I cannot figure out how to do it.
It's okay. I'm pulling it up, so while we're zooming, I can at least look, just because I think I have questions, but I want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing too.
So the red is our immediate feedback that we put on as a group. I did have I put 2 green highlights, and I'll explain that. It came to me last night that I wanted to ask about it. And when we started our call, I had asked, and maybe you can verify, do both the male names identify as male? Do you know, Taylor?
Like the people in our group?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that I do not know.
Okay, so I'm not trying to assume, but our class has 5 males, and I thought if we're gonna try to work on dismantling ableism, maybe we should like at least have one of the direct care workers as a male, since you have almost half of them from our class specifically. Because I know that if it was like a specific spectrum school, the staff would be nearly equal, just because spectrum schools typically have a lot of behaviors, and we need those, the differences in our handling and our, I want to say, impression on the kids. Some boys follow male roles better than females, and that's just, their preference. But it was just a suggestion. It's up to you guys if you guys want to add a male to your direct care.
I feel like I'm misunderstanding. I thought you were asking about the 2 people in our subgroup. Are you talking about our hypothetical clients?
Your agency staff.
Okay.
Since you have, in reality, 2 of the 5 males. Just a suggestion if we were gonna try to get on the nail with the dismantling ableism. I don't think that it's exactly the same, but I do want to open that up to suggestion. So your male counterparts in your group feel represented in the group or assignment.
I see. So right now, hypothetically, how many direct care staff did we have? Three or
Three.
five?
Three women.
And
Three.
we have them all female. So you're
Yeah.
suggesting making one of the direct care staff a male. Perfect.
It's
Okay.
totally up to you guys.
Yeah, I will bring, we can bring that up to, I believe Megan covered that section. Is that right, Taylor?
Yeah, and I think we should look at like demographics for Portland because I mean, I get what you're saying, but we also don't want to like just throw in a male to throw in a male. Like we should really look at the community settings, like, okay, where, like, who is represented in schools? Do you typically, like, you want it to represent the community too, you know?
Something I wanted to mention, we had the choice to select our agency settings, correct? It might be important to mention, although your staff doesn't have experience in the community, there's still a lot of other things they would require. So besides being an RBT, or I can't remember if that was one of the skill sets you put for one of your persons, but I want to say, like, we might want to mention, like, if it's an instructional aid and how the staff is being I guess I want to mention, like, because of the ASP, all your paraprofessionals have to have, at least in my state, into instructional aid license. So aside from the teacher, the staff might need a specific kind of license. Does that make sense?
Oh, I wonder what Oregon requires, because I'm from Pennsylvania and I know that nothing additional is required. What state are you from, Danielle?
I'm in Ohio.
Ohio. Okay, so does Oregon require?
Yeah, Pennsylvania does not. I'm also from PA.
So to piggyback off of Taylor, when she said something about like we're using the demographics of Portland, Oregon to create our clients and the members of our staff. There's a lot of really good information in the community section for Portland. But when we go down to the clients and agency, I feel like we can add more detail to like the demographics of our hypothetical clients and our hypothetical agency and the people that work for that agency.
Yeah, so we talked about that. That's a good point. So adding that information as well as like behaviors too, because we kind of didn't really touch on like specific behaviors we're seeing in the classroom and why we're going to be using visual like schedules. So I think like the biggest thing we kind of missed overall was like we have so much information, but we need to connect it back to like this specific classroom.
Yes. That's kind of like where we were at too when we were going through and providing feedback for you guys. Like there's a lot of really good stuff. It's just like now we need to make the connections to the hypothetical clients and agency.
Now, I wonder how detailed we need to be about that. Like, do we need to actually break down, like we have 5 students and these are their hypothetical names and like a detail about each one? Or can we just say, 3 of them are from 2-parent households, 1 of them has this religion, 2 are from this economic status, or do the future assignments require that it has even more detailed information?
I honestly haven't looked at like future assignments. I know she mentioned there needs to be enough detail to be able to respond in a culturally responsive way in future assignments, but I don't know exactly like what we're going to be doing in regards to those future assignments. But
I
we
think
go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think this, like how the second thing you said, Andrew, about like the summary, I think that would be okay, because that, like Madison said, that's like you're like representing the demographic so we can respond in a culturally responsive way. I don't think you'd have to say like student A, this, student B, this.
Yeah, I think a summary would be good. And then for like, you guys mentioned going into more detail, like with the behaviors and how like their behavior is going to require the schedule. We mentioned, I don't know exactly where it is in red here, but like having a chart, like a triangular data triangulation chart. So
It's under the big main client and agency section.
so that way like we can see like ABC data and like interviews and that sort of thing, to see like how we got to needing activity schedules.
Yeah, I think I talked to Megan who did our agency information. So she's gonna add information on like escape maintained behavior, and like that's primarily what we're gonna be seeing in our classroom. And that's why we're gonna start implementing like individual visual activity schedules, and kind of pointing out that the generic like tier 1 like strategies like didn't work. So like really focusing on like every time there's non-preferred tasks, we see kids engaging in eloping, aggression, crying, screaming, those typical escape maintain behaviors.
Are we gonna maybe try to reach back to that behavior consultation where there was like, some had like subsections, I want to say it was like 4.1, 4.2 on the different functions and the combination of certain behaviors, if you can recall.
Like an assignment we did for the behavior consultation class.
Yeah,
I'd have to look that up.
okay. I just thought it, since we're talking about data, it might be good to just double check our previous book for the data sheets and the kind of interventions for that. I guess, what is it, the intervention matrix that they all kind of, it would be unanimously agreed that this is the best. Anything else?
Did you guys see her email about the community in which your client lives and the DCS? The checklist doesn't specify which subgroup completes this section. We already have that section.
Yeah, we have that section, and I did, when we first were figuring it out, hopefully Madison or you passed this information. I was like, hey, we took a look at it. We think that these 3 would be a good idea. And then I sent it to you, and then you responded and was like, hey, our group gives us the green light. And so that's what we're going to do. So I think we did that and we're good there.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. Do you guys have any other questions for us or?
I do have a question about my section, and I don't know how helpful you guys will be if you're not the one that did the feedback, but I did the behavior mechanism section, and I kind of wasn't really sure where to go with it. So I kind of like was like highlighting examples of how activity schedules can like reduce escape maintain behavior. So I did see the feedback, and like I haven't put my revisions in yet, but one thing I did is I'm really making like a very basic flow chart of like how setting events and antecedent events impact like behaviors and consequences, and how escape behaviors are maintained. And that's like what I was focusing on in my section, but I was kind of a little confused about my feedback, and I'm not like sure what I should be adding to this other than maybe like some general information about like setting events and ABI strategies in general.
Taylor, can you share it so I can look at it too?
Yeah, let me try. Well, it might ask Madison for permission, but let me try. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So really what I focused on with like activity schedules is that one, they reduce escape maintain behavior and they show when reinforcement is not available. Because when I was looking up behavior mechanisms, like in the rubric, it was like talking about connecting it to those types of things like SDs, motivating operations. So I feel like this, like my feedback brings up really good points, but I'm not sure that they apply to my section unless I'm totally understanding like unless I'm misunderstanding what I was supposed to be doing. Like it just like has like, why was the intervention chosen? And kind of ask like more detailed questions that I think are good. I just don't know if they make sense in my section. Because I thought I was supposed to be talking about like motivating operations and how visual schedules help with that. And again, if you guys didn't provide this feedback, I don't know how helpful you guys will be, but if anyone can, if that makes sense.
I think it just goes back to not having enough information about the clients and the behaviors in the classroom.
Okay, so that's what I kind of figured. So that's why I was talking with Megan last night, because if I like try to bring this back to like MOs again, I said, like, we definitely need to establish like what are behaviors in our classroom, establish that they're escape maintain behaviors. So again, I think there's good questions in this feedback, but I wasn't sure that they make sense in this section. Again, unless I'm totally understanding this wrong.
It was mostly, we were unclear how it just tied back to the clients specifically without that information.
Okay.
I feel like if there is like, for example, does each child have their own visual schedule? Is the visual schedule in picture format? I think you're correct, and that probably doesn't fit best in your section. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull it up on my screen too, so I can scroll.
Oh, do you need me to scroll down?
I got it. Thank you. Like under advantages of activity schedule and identify antecedent intervention and checklist, I feel like some of those questions do tie back better in a different area. If you feel like there's a question that doesn't make sense in your section,
Like I'm looking at this one.
much to ask for you to copy and paste it to like the section that does make sense.
And like this one talking about staff training, which again, these are important questions that I think we should answer in that original client section. Which is fine. Again, they're great questions. I just wanted to make sure that my section was what I thought it was. And then I think that these questions can be addressed better in other sections.
And you might be completely right. I wrote that specific last sentence.
I
what is
feel
required
kind
of
of
the
just
staff.
like, because yours is like towards the end, we were kind of just like, because we went through the feedback together and we kind of were just like throwing everybody's brains and just like writing down what people were saying. So it might not make sense exactly in that area.
No, that's fine.
I would agree.
I think
Yeah.
they're all great questions. I just think some of them are like, kind of like you said, it kind of looks like sometimes you guys were just like writing a question somewhere.
Just to like get it down. Yeah.
Yeah, we can also talk to our subgroup and just ask that everyone reads through the entire document, which it would be good for us to know anyway, and then apply what is necessary to their area. And that way we should be covered with all of the feedback.
I think that
Great.
sounds good.
Is everybody okay if I stop sharing my screen?
Yes.
You love like my 25 tabs open.
You read my mind.
Looks like mine.
All right. Unless we have any other questions, I think we're good.
Do you guys want to stop recording for this? And are there any other assignments that we might want to talk about as a group real quick while we have multiple people from both
Yeah,
sides?
there's a couple things, so we can stop for the feedback and then go over the other stuff.
Perfect.
Madison, do you know how to stop recording?